Welcome to Dynamic Character Productions. This is Season 6 Moneta Bank. And this is our draft and semi-cast assessment. This is where we're going to learn about all of the new players for this season and this lovely group of production members that decided to do this draft will get to pick their favorite players. The order? I have no clue. I'm handing it over to the McKennas.
So, yes, McKenna, not me, won the All-Stars draft. So she is now picking the order for everyone else to draft in. She has decided not to draft this season. So she is just deciding y'all's fate. McKenna, what's the order?
Yes, I did not want to pick a favorite. I just wanted everyone to win, everyone to have fun. But none of you guys to have fun. So, drafting first. I do have a very specific reason why everyone is in their draft place, but I will explain it at the end. Okay, drafting first, Mr. Erik Barnes.
Oh, ooh, okay.
Okay, second, Kyle.
Damn.
Third.
Kylie.
Austin. Fourth, John. Fifth, Lilly. Sixth, Kylie. And finally, Carrie.
I can't believe you've done this
men
to us,
going
McKenna.
first.
I can't believe you alphabet strategied us.
My last name.
Wow. No way.
Originally, she sent me an alphabetical list and was like, no, wait, I've got something funnier.
Oh my god.
And
Interesting.
I was going to invert it, but I just didn't.
That's fair.
So, thank you, McKenna, for deciding the fate of your fellow production members. And we will get right into this draft. Erik, start us off.
Okay. Wait, this is a snake draft, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So
make
this is my only
pick
pick.
count. Yep.
Okay. Well, okay. Yes, I'm gonna pick this person because I really, really liked their interview and their energy in their interview. I loved the way that they explained like their whole strategy and their whole like perspective of the game of Survivor. I love that they name dropped Sari Fields and just like everything that this person said. I was like, they're so smart, they're so wise, but like they could really go under the radar. And then I found out how young they were, and I was like, this person is just like so wise beyond their years. I think JD is going to do very well.
Kyle, you've got our next pick. Where are you going?
All right. So many people on the board. My first choice is here. I'm going to take Emily. I think that Emily, I like to look for someone who could go a little under the radar. I think we have a lot of bigger personalities here. So I feel more comfortable going with someone who I think is not going to be, very out in the open. But she really seems to have a good head on her shoulders when it comes to the game. She's talking about trying to make a fake idol of some sort. So I love that. I have a lot of confidence in her. I'm excited to see her play.
Before we go, Lilly, do you have something to say on that pick?
Okay. Emily is near and dear to my heart, and I think Kyle, you have it perfectly right. I was like, well, it's kind of lame if I pick someone that I know. So, but I wanted to pick her. So I think it's a perfect pick. I think you're really right. I think she's really analytical too. So I think she might come in, just like you said, under the radar. She's going to try to feel things out, but I think once she needs to start making these moves, she's going to have figured out what she wants to do and how she wants to do it. And she's a very loyal player. So I'll be really interested to see how she does with her loyalty because she's somebody you want in the game, and I think people can pick up on that. So I think it's either going to get her really, really far, or like we've seen in past minis through DCP, it's going to put a target on her back. But yeah, I think it's a great pick.
It really is. I came away from that interview just wanting to hear her thought processes on everything. I love the way she thinks and like processes things out. So I'm really looking forward to her confessionals and see how she like breaks down the game.
Yeah,
I was
and I
literally
want.
between her and JD for the first pick. For the record, I'll shut up now.
Mhm.
I'm now thinking between those two.
Emily is also a first-time player. This will be the first time she is playing a game, so it also just shows the type of people that we like to get passed onto these games because like she definitely read very strategist. I think like she will. I don't think she's gonna come in here and be overwhelmed by the experience. And even if she is, I think a lot of these other people are going to be overwhelmed by the pace of play as well. So it won't stand out. I think if she can find her counterbalance to the strategy and find that other person that can also lay down the groundwork in a different way, I think she could be a lethal player. Lethal is the name of the game this podcast for me.
Amazing. Austin.
Ready. My first pick is still here, so I'm very excited about that. I am also going to grab a brand new player. Person was one of my favorites, probably my favorite out of everybody. Um, Interview and application. I'm going to grab Sam here. I'm really excited to see. I mean, here at DCP, we love new players, so really excited to see how he decides to tackle the game. He found us through our Instagram reel, so I think that's really cool. And he's done his homework. In his interview, he said he had already watched a couple of our seasons. He was on Monte Carlo at the time, so I'm really excited to see, if he can take all that information and put it to good use.
Yeah, Sam was definitely a standout interview, and I love that him coming in as a new player took the initiative to like go back seasons and seasons. Like we recommend people to watch the previous season when applying, to kind of get a sense of the game. But the fact that he went deep into the archives, I love that.
Truly. I loved Sam's interview. I loved the energy, the personality that he provided, and I think that's something that as long as he's on the right tribe starting out, I think that's energy that's going to be positively received. But don't let it fool you. I see villain vibes in this guy, and that's why I want to see him go deep into this game and let that villainy come out.
Amazing. So we are going over to John
For the fourth
Wow.
pick.
So with the fourth pick, and this is a tricky point because I'm the midway point in the rounds. So there's 3 people on either side of me, and that means there's 6 picks before I get my next one. So I have to pick based on who I don't think Lilly, Kylie, and Carrie are gonna pick. See if I can float someone here. But my first pick is still on the board too, so I can't just ignore the fact that I'm taking Rob. I'm taking someone who I personally had experience playing a game with, someone who I know can kind of fly under the radar, but can make such good social bonds that should he get at the end, there's no question he can take down a win.
Yeah, I was in the same game, and I wasn't able to work with Rob, so I didn't really know him that well. And then he came on for his interview, and I couldn't stop smiling. This guy, I feel like, just radiates a lot of positivity and good energy that you can really sense it when he talks to you, and that's great in a mini when you can just draw people in like that.
Yeah, we've seen it work for him in a longer format game. I'm very interested to see if that type of energy also will translate to a faster paced game because I feel like for Rob, what was so great about the long game was it provided time for people to really be consumed by those vibes and then be like, okay, I can keep rolling with him. But in this where it's like each round at most is an hour and most of that's from a challenge. So like 15-minute scrambles is that enough time for that to really grip? Because if it does, then we might see him at the end.
Yeah.
I think it's like one of those age-long questions when it comes to Survivor. Do you want to play with people you get along with or people that you think you can play with? And Rob, I think, fits both categories really well. And I think it's gonna be really hard for people to be like, I want to get rid of him, because he is so good just to spend time with.
So I played in that same game that John and McKenna are talking about, and I worked with Rob through the whole thing. There was like maybe one vote where we weren't, whatever, but I worked with Rob through the whole thing, and he is like such a sweet guy, like just like so charismatic, and he's really good with strategy. So I think that that's a really good pick, and I'm jealous that you got him.
You're the reason why I picked him here, Carrie. I knew he wasn't coming back to me.
Amazing pick of Rob. Lily, we're going to you.
With the
All right.
pick.
Well, I am positively shook. I think you guys all made a grave mistake aside from Kyle in not picking this person. My pick is Jenn. Okay. Her interview was fantastic. I mean, you could feel her energy through it. She was here to have fun. She was here to play. She was here for the day. And it's somebody that you want to work with if you're playing a long game. You don't want to be sitting next to someone that's like, I'm hungry, or like, no, what are you thinking at final 5 when it's final 14? Like, she's gonna be going with the flow. She's gonna have fun. I mean, she has the jokes, and she's somebody that I think people are gonna be naturally drawn to and not intimidated by her, because if I'm correct, this is her first time playing.
Yes.
So I think that's the perfect storm for maybe a person like Rob that is really strategic to bring her to the end, and then she just totally takes away the win because everybody just absolutely adored her. So I'm really excited to have been able to get her, and I think she's going to do great.
I echo everything you just said, Lily. She was another interview that I just couldn't stop smiling through. Gave off just a big light. And I think it's gonna shine, and she is a fan of Survivor, and so it'll be interesting to watch her put her strategies to the test for the first time.
Yeah, I was very impressed with her. Like, again, any newbie I'm gonna have a like special attachment to, because I love that first experience that people get to have, and you really get to see it through their eyes. And I think she could really take this game by storm. I agree with Lily. She was among my sleepers of, if you don't look, she's about to win this whole thing. Because as our good prod member Carrie says, it's about time a woman won, even though we historically have
I agree.
a lot of women winners.
Alrighty, Kylie, let's get to your first pick.
I am so excited. First of all, I want to say that Jen was like, she wasn't my I had like a tie for my second pick, and she was there. So I was very excited about her. So great pick. But I am so happy to say that my first pick is still on the board, of course. And I don't know if anyone can guess who it is, but I am 1000% picking Evan. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to watch him play. I love Evan personally. He's an incredible human, but he also, I think, will do so well. So I'm so pumped to see him play. He has very minimal org experience, and the experience that he has is very different than the way that we run our orgs. And I think like he's a very charismatic person, but not like in your face charismatic. So I think that will bode well for him. I don't think anyone can meet him and not love him. So that's why I like definitely want him on my team, besides the fact that I love him so much. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited. He obviously, I don't know. Should I address the elephant in the room, or
I'll address it. So, Erik, I'd love to get your perspective here and put some context to why Kylie loves him.
Yeah. So Evan is my twin brother. So we have a lot of similarities, including that we look almost exactly alike. We're identical twins. But no, I think like in something like a DCP mini, if I had to bet my money on who would do better out of Evan and me, like 10 times out of 10, I would bet on Evan, because I don't know, he just has this like really charming, charismatic like air about him that like Kylie said, everybody who meets him is just like loves him, and like he's just so endearing in this way that like after they're not with him anymore, they're like, oh, I really miss him. Like I don't know what it is, but it's just this unspoken thing. What's the word? Je ne sais quoi. Something about him that is just really charming and endearing. So I think people will be drawn to him and his energy. I know he's so excited. He loves Survivor. So he's just going to radiate like the happiness to be there and the excitement. And I think that will make people drawn towards him for sure.
I love kind of the trilogy that we have going on here with Brett. We have you. Now we have Evan. We have another friendship series still not picked yet. So I love that Evan decided to play the game. And I do think if he is at Final Tribal, he'll probably get more than one vote. So
Probably will.
That's true. That's a good point.
No, I really enjoyed Evan, which wasn't surprising. I think him having at least some expertise in orgs, whether minimal or not, through I believe it was through Discord. That's where a lot of orgs happen these days. So at least he has an idea of what org veterans are like, because we do have some org veterans on this cast, and I think knowing how some play could work for him with how to gauge them early on. I think Evan could do very well. I think he goes along what John was saying earlier of the play with the people you like. And I think that's how he will play, as well as how people will want to play with him.
Yeah. Amazing. Carrie, you get 2 picks in a row. So take us through it.
Okay, so my number 1 and number 2 are both still on the board. So I'm very lucky here in the last place. But my number 1 choice is Karli. Karli is one of my very best friends ever. She's like a sister to me. I've known her for ever at this point. We used to live together. And so like I know her in a way that a lot of people don't. And I think that she could do really well in this game. She's very outgoing. She makes friends everywhere she goes. She's a really good talker. She has a lot of interests. I think she'll have a pretty easy time, you know, chatting with people and getting people to trust her. She's also really smart. So she is a doctor, has a PhD, is working on her postdoc. She's really good at puzzles. I think she has a lot going for her that will make her a really good participant in this.
Lily, you've met Karli in person. Do you want to talk a little bit about Karli?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that Carrie said. I know Karli through Carrie. But I would say like instantly upon meeting her, it's just so easy to talk to her. And I think in these fast, quick games, and especially with a lot of these newbies, even though she is a newbie, to have someone just kind of be like, okay, like kind of like calm you down might be really, really good for these people and might kind of band some of them together. And she is really, really smart, really clever. So I'm really excited to see her play. She was actually my second pick. I was hoping Carrie wouldn't take her, but I knew she wouldn't make that mistake. So.
Obviously, I've also met Karli. My only worry for Karli here is she does like to talk, does like to fill that silence. So if she happens to win a lot and is maybe driving some of the conversations in that winner's scramble room, it might lead her to more of like a leader role or put a target on her back. Or if maybe she's too aggressive in scrambling. If she loses, that's my only reservation with Karli, but I do agree that she has that personality to get you on side. So as long as that talking and communication gets you on side rather than a target, I think she's good to go.
No, yeah, she's definitely outgoing, definitely will be one of our other personalities on this cast. I think she will have a hard time not being a like even a visible leader, like whether she's actually leading or not. People may just assume that she is. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like sometimes, depending on the right grouping, you being that vocal leader, either people will view you as like a nice shield, and then that gets you some legs to potentially like mid-merge, and then you can figure things out. Or they may want to just ride with you. Have that person be that leader, that figurehead of your group, and really hone down what these strategies are, because when you only have 10 to 15 minutes to like really get something down, having someone be the first person to put out a name isn't always going to be the death sentence.
Yeah. Carrie, who's your second pick?
So Kayla was my second pick, and I'm so excited that she's still available. So Kayla is another one of my best friends. I've known Kayla now for a few years, and I met her through a live game. And so she has played some live games in her life, and I think she'll do really well with this game because she's really smart. She's one of the best puzzle people I've ever met. She's really funny. She has like a very sarcastic, dry sense of humor that I think like certain people are attracted to. And if you're like that kind of person who's attracted to that sense of humor, you're like all in. And so I think that she'll do really well. I'm excited for her.
Yes, Kayla is one of my very best friends. And over half the people here have met her because I want to show her to people and be like, look at her. She is one of my very best friends, and she's amazing. So I do have high hopes for her. The one downside to Kayla is she can be aggressive and be like, don't you see the logic in this? And it could come off wrong. So that's my only worry for Kayla, but I think she's going to be a character for however long she's here. She will serve in the confessionals and just tell you how it is. Very real and honest person. If any of the other of you who've met her want to talk about her.
I love Kayla. She was next on my list, so I'm sad that you picked her, even though I assumed that you would. But I had the great honor of going to see Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, with Kayla. So I literally love her. She's amazing. I agree with everything that's been said. I obviously don't know her as well as Carrie and McKenna, but she has slept on my couch for several days, so I do know her pretty well. And the one thing I'll say about Kayla is that I think she has a very interesting way of speaking. And I don't really know how to describe that until you watch her and talk to her. But she's just so like eloquent, and she does have an interesting sense of humor that is kind of dry, but she's just very smart and intelligent and comes across very easily. So I agree. It's like once you get to know her, if it's the type of communication that you like, I guess, then you will like love Kayla. So I think she could do super, super well. I'm excited to see her in a mini online format. So I have high hopes for her as well.
So what I want to say about Kayla is I think the long games are a benefit. It's essentially no different than what we do here, except we are online. They're out doing legit physical challenges and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be a plus. I think the only person that will get in the way of Kayla in the beginning of this game is Kayla. And if I think she has to warm up the people, I feel, sometimes in games. And if she doesn't feel she has enough time in a mini that's so fast paced, if she loses that first tribal, she could very likely be the first person to go on a tribe because she just wasn't warmed up yet to get people. To that, I'm saying it's a mistake if you let her get warmed up, because then she will control the game. And before you know it, it's final 6 and everyone's going to be like, this girl's about to win if we don't take her out now.
I was actually just going to say pretty much the same thing. I think the divisiveness that Kayla can present as a personality. I mean, obviously, like those of us who have met her have all love her and everything, but because she's not everyone's cup of tea, that's the concern in a mini format. Because in a mini format, first impressions are everything to get you through those first couple of votes. If Kayla is either on a tribe that ends up winning the first couple of challenges or manages to skate by, you're going to see her take control of this game. The question becomes is how aggressive is that? But with some of the larger personalities on this cast, I think it really benefits Kayla because there are going to be other people doing what Kayla's detrimental traits do, exasperated, and they are going to be a larger target than her.
Amazing. So we are snaking it back to Kylie. Where are you going for your next pick?
Okay. Like I said, I probably would have picked Kayla next if she was an option. Okay, there's still a lot of great people left. I think I really only have one option, to be completely honest, and I don't know if anyone has an idea of who this is, but I am going to pick Kyle. The only thing that matters is that he's one of John's friends from Canada. So that's enough. Some of my really, outside of people that I'm like personally friends with, my favorite DCP players have all been John's personal friends. I think that they all have very interesting personalities, mainly because they're Canadian, I think. Just kidding. I don't know. But I don't know. I just am very intrigued by him. I love he seems like he also has a dryness to him. He seems very intelligent. He seems like he's good at his games. I don't know much about Magic the Gathering, but sounds like he's good at that. So anyway, I'm very excited. I'm always entertained by this group of people, such as Greg Davidson, first and foremost, one of my favorite players. Selkirk, of
Sean
course.
Hunter.
Well, I was getting there, of course, the great Sean Hunter from the amazing season of Sahara Dunes. Who could forget him? So anyway, I'm so excited to see Kyle play. I have high hopes.
John?
Kyle might be on a different level than those other players that you just mentioned, Kylie, because Kyle, when introduced to Survivor during the pandemic, went hard. I'm talking binged every single season of Survivor and then binged all the international seasons of Survivor.
Yeah.
Hard. And this is the type of guy who is very analytical. He can think through processes. He's incredibly well spoken and can present his ideas in a way where you just want to agree with him. And he's super affable as well. And I think it's that combination of that strategic mind and also that likability that make him that give him a lot of advantage. The concern is he's on the West Coast, which can kind of be a disadvantage for some players sometimes because they have to start the game earlier than other players.
Mm-hmm. John, I have two questions for you about Kyle. One, does he know what going to Rocks is?
Yes, he does.
Two, did you help him with supplies?
When he applied, he did check with Selkirk about supplies and what he should be thinking about.
Okay, great.
I can't wait for the practice T-balls or instead of ping pong balls. But no, like he had a very good interview, and I can definitely see like he reads strategy essentially. Like if you're talking to him, he reads strategy. So the important thing is he's on a group or find someone that likes that they like it. It's either something that they see similar to themselves, and there are people on this cast that are like that. That I think if they do are either on the same tribe or swap, whatever, they could really come together or clash heads because different philosophies. We don't know. Mm-hmm. But as Kylie said, it's a John casting choice, and I'm always super intrigued to see what a John friend does in DCP.
They always deliver. They always deliver.
Lily, we are up to you now.
All right. I was between two people, but I'm leaning with whatever fits my normal determination for my second person. Find me offline to know what that means. No. I'm picking Andy C. Like, absolutely fell in love with this man. Not actually, but through his interview. I was like, I want him on my screen right now. I want to see him in a game. He reminds me very much of Bill, but maybe like a little bit more, I don't know, like
better with camera angles.
Yeah, and I want Andy to come in this game and tell all the newbies it's a game. Like, we're here for fun. And I know he's played a lot of these before, but I think he's gonna do pretty well, especially with this cast. There's a lot of people, especially from what I'm hearing from people that know these people directly, that are going to take this game like headstrong. And so maybe having someone that's, a little bit more relaxed might help in the game and will help him meld and kind of hide in the shadows, and does what he does best. But I'm excited to see him in action. And I'm excited to have him on my draft.
Austin, you played with Andy. Please talk about that.
Yes, I sure have. The game that I played with Andy, it was his very first game. And he did very well for himself. He sat with myself and another DCP alumni, Ben Horn, at Final Tribal Council. Um, I think he definitely can do very well in this game. I think he's a little more on the quieter side, at least when I played with him. So I worry about that a little bit because he definitely kind of took a back seat in our game. But I know he's played some games since then. So I'm hoping he's learned from his very first go, and I think he could definitely make a deep run here.
Yeah, I'm excited for Andy C to play because I think he will provide, like Lily was saying, that different energy to the cast. And whether people take it, I think it could bring him back to that final tribal council seat. But if not, I honestly can't pinpoint where Andy would land. I think he is just that wild card that can mold to his surroundings a little bit.
Yeah, he's a wild card for me as well. But one thing I do like was when we interviewed him and we interviewed everybody, we asked them about twists in the game, and obviously the theme is Moneta Bank. And he was one of the few people who brought up fire tokens, and more so trying to figure out ways to better utilize fire tokens. And obviously it'll be coins here with a bank and all, but I think him already having that as a mindset going in, I think he's someone that I could see really trying to utilize our twists in the game to his benefit.
All right, John, did you succeed in your picks? Did Lily, Kylie, or Carrie pick one of the people you wanted?
They didn't.
All right, John.
I did this. I knew this. I knew what I was doing. Well, I am picking someone that we at DCP have been hoping to apply to one of our games for a long time here. Someone with a lot of knowledge about Survivor, someone who has gone out and competed in several game shows. I'm going with our other Andy. I'm going with Andy V.
Andy Vogl. Yes, I am ecstatic to have him on the cast. I think if he makes it far, he will be our villain of the season. But the risk for Andy is he could get got right away. So I think, John, you have a high risk, high reward on Andy.
It's my second pick. I had to swing for the fences on this one. We'll see if it pays off. But I think what Andy brings is, even though he does come across as a very intelligent and almost like swarmy type of guy, he still is likable enough that I think he can take control of a tribe really easily and hopefully use that to survive the first few rounds, get his footing, and get it to the point where people trust him. And I think if you look at his occupation as like a high school math teacher, it seems like a really innocuous job when it comes to playing these orgs. But this is a person who deals with people every single day, and that can't be understated.
Listen, it did well for Morgan and Lalamanu, so who knows? Alex, what are your thoughts on Andy?
Oh, I was going to say, it doesn't matter if he's first boot or the winner, he will be the villain of the season, because that's just the way that's just the way that his mindset is for how he wants to play. And it's a very villainous way. And you know what? I commend him for wanting that and realizing that that's just what he'll do. Like, he doesn't, if you ask him what type of number one you're going to have, he's like, depends on the minute. Like, there is no long-term thinking for this. He's going to take it round by round, and he's going to always choose what's best for Andy Vogl. Not for all Andys, but him as Andy. The Andys better hope they don't end up on the same tribe, because if it's up to
one's
Andy
getting
Vogl,
last name.
Yes, one is not going to have to go by their last name anymore, and the other one will not have a name anymore in the game.
Alrighty. So Austin, you are next. Where are you going?
Yes. This person was also very, very high on my list and one of my favorite interviews. I'm gonna go with Jabbar here. I think Jabbar is also has potential to be a villain in this game. He says right on his application that some initial strategies are to lie, deny, and scheme. So if that doesn't say that you're going to play like a villain, I don't know what will. He's also a teacher, so I think that can really help him out navigate like the social game and stuff like that. I also think he's probably one of the top people that will try to make use of the vault and get these advantages.
I have had the honor of playing with Jabbar in a live game. We were on the same tribe. I was feeling uneasy about him, and then we had a conversation, and I was like, all right, great, we're working together. So I feel like he can, if you're feeling that, unease about him, he can have a conversation with you and make you feel like you're in like the core alliance with him. So I think that is a great pick, and you got to steal, Austin.
Yeah, honestly, Jabbar should have been drafted higher, and I'm making sure that's known because he will watch this. Jabbar has a mist. He's one of those people who actually has a mist about him that like is what exactly McKenna says. Because I've seen him in game after game be in situations where he's been the person on top and wins. He's been the person that's been scrapping from the bottom and wins. Like he has a lot of experiences, but what's so great about him is he also has extreme losses. Like he has been a first boot. He has gone pre-merge. Like he has these things that he'll look at it and he always goes into the next game being, what can I do to improve myself? He'll win a game and be like, okay, the next game I go in, what can I do better than the last time? What can I do differently than the last time? And so he's someone that you do not want to mess with in a game. Like he can so quickly turn the social dynamics of the game upside down. And before you know it, you're going to be like, what? Beginning of the round, Jabbar's going home. End of the round, oh my God, Jabbar's winning.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of player that he is.
Yes, I'm excited to see him play. Kyle, you will be deciding for yourself and Erik with your pick here. So with the final pick of the draft, where are you going?
Okay, so I originally had this person at last, but I'm gonna swerve for the heck of it. Give me Yap. I just want Yap on my team. I think that he is gonna be incredible at Tribal Council, incredible in the confessionals, a blast to watch for as long as he's there. And I don't know how long that's gonna be, but it's the second to last pick, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna be excited. So I'll be rooting for Yap, and I want him on my team.
Yeah, he was infectious in his interview. He does improv, so he has that like comedic timing where that could be amazing when it comes to confessionals and connecting with people. Everybody loves to laugh, so I think he will be a great asset on a tribe.
Yap is my boy. Y'all need to stop. I'm just gonna say, y'all need to stop drafting my friends last. I'm starting to take it personal. But regardless, it's because we have so many great people on this cast. Like being drafted late does not mean we think you're not gonna go far. But Yap is someone that I think will be underestimated. I think he's underestimated in this draft, and I think he can be underestimated in this game because, like, he's here to have fun. Like, he's here to have a fun time playing the game. It's going to also be early for him because he lives in California. And so he's not thrilled about being up at 7:30 to start the game. But I think if he can get rolling, get around under him, like, he's positive energy. And, like, he's going to be self-interested, but he can be a loyal player. He can have fun while playing this game. And that type of energy, if the right people connect with him early, I think we'll see a stretch from him. So I don't think it's a bad pick at all.
Yeah. All right. Erik, you are left with the final person. So talk about them and why you absolutely love them.
I actually do. I was happy with either of these last two picks. I mean, there are so many good picks out of all these players, but no. So I get Simona, which I'm actually very happy about. In her interview, she came across as like the most like intentional, knowledgeable, like experienced org player of like everybody in the cast. So I think that could be a really good thing, obviously, because she's very experienced. Hopefully it's not a bad thing, because I know there are a bunch of newbies. So like newbies could, if she talks about her other orgs, newbies could think, oh, she's really experienced, we got to get her out of here because she knows what she's doing. But if she can kind of keep that under wraps and downplay it, she just has a very like intentional, strategic mind. Like she has a whole game plan already going into the game. So that seems to have worked for her in her past games, and she's just replicated it again and again. So I think she's super dedicated. She's super passionate about playing these games. She's, if I remember correctly, she's going to be in Italy, but she's still going to play this game.
Yes.
Well, she's in Italy because she loves playing
Yes.
these games so much. So that should just show how much she is dedicated to this. So I think she could do really well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see her play. Like you said, she'll be playing from Italy, and she was like, "Thank God I don't have to wake up with the West Coast people. I'm happy to wake up and stay up later." So I just thought that was hilarious that she's like
That's
willing
so
to go
funny.
way deep into the night because she's starting at like 2 p.m. or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Obviously, that's the one downside is Rome. You don't like, she's going to a spot where like you don't know what that internet access is going to be like, the Wi-Fi connection, all that stuff. Like the technical difficulties could rear its head. It's not something that's uncommon from like, and you'll see that from our earlier seasons at DCP. And so that part could be bad. But when it comes to game, like she is a vet. And like you wouldn't know she's a vet because like she's in her early 20s. Like she's a college student. She's studying abroad right now. But like she was very known within the Instagram like games of it all. She's done some Discord games, she's done some live games, not all Survivor, but still nonetheless social strategy games. And Erik's right on the money. She does everything with intention. She will not put her neck out on the line for somebody else unless she knows that something good is coming from the end of that. Like she will always preserve her game, and it's why in a lot of these games, if she keeps getting her way, you see her at the final 3. Like she might get cut right before final tribal council, but you will see her at the end, and it's another thing. Like she's a small girl. Like she's young. People will underestimate that at times. There are some people on this cast who know of her, may have not have played with her, but that could potentially rear its head in either a good way or a bad way. We won't know until we see them on our virtual island.
One thing that I did love about Simona is once she got to Rome, she was like, okay, where do I, like, let me source my supplies. And I was like, amazing. She's not waiting until tonight, Friday, before the game, to try and like scrounge up some stuff. So I really like that she has that forward.
She's proactive.
And proactive. So I think that could lead her into a great spot in the game. So with that, we have drafted everyone, and if we all can go through the draft teams. So Erik, who's on your team?
I have Naropa and Simona.
Emily and Yam.
Sam and Jabbar.
Rob and Andy Vogl.
Jenn and Andy C.
Evan and Kyle.
Karli and Kayla.
That wraps up our draft and cast assessment for our 6th mini of DCP Moneta Bank. Please continue to follow along as we get to our premiere, get into the season. You're going to see these episodes come out, and we'll have some recaps. We'll have all the works. But remember to follow along by subscribing, press that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications, and you'll see at the very end of this video and every episode all of our social media. Follow us there. We'll be posting TikToks, Instagram Reels, you name it. You don't want to miss it. But until next time, we're out.